pulling up, pulling up, pulling up, pulling up. Same old, same old, same old, same old, same old, same old. I got that with a kill. Let's see where this goes. Let me hit my stride because it's gonna be another interesting conversation, and I got some things to say. Conversation has to be made. Um, this ain't gonna be fun. I already know it's not gonna be fun because it is a topic that honestly I hate having to talk about. But it is a conversation that has to be had. It's a conversation that needs to be said. And from here, we'll just see what we could do when it comes to this. Okay. On here, I'm gonna play some 2K. Should we be? Are we good to go? Are we good to go? Make sure everything is handled the right way. Yeah, yeah, we should be. Yeah, we are good to go. Okay, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ravens flock. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Well, it depends. I don't know if everyone's enjoying their day. It might not be one of those days where you can actually sit back and enjoy your day, specifically because of the situation that we find ourselves in regarding our quarterback, or at least our quarterback for now, Lamar Jackson. So, as we all know, Lamar Jackson himself suffered, well, at least we were told, it was reported that Lamar Jackson suffered a PCL sprain from that December 4 game against the Broncos. So he suffered it that game, and a PCL sprain injury wise, it usually lasts for 1 to 3 weeks. So we were told it was a PCL sprain. The injury estimation was 1 to 3 weeks. By week 4, the player should be good to at least practice. And with that being said, there was reports that came out earlier on, mostly from Rappaport, saying that Lamar might be good to go for the Christmas game, or Lamar's going to try out his knee this week and all this other stuff. And we don't exactly know for the specific fact in terms of how things are going to go. We don't specifically know if are going to things are going to get better or worse. We kind of don't know. We don't know what's going on. That's what makes the situation so weird. We don't know what's going on. We were initially told that Lamar Jackson's injury was a PCL sprain, which only lasts 1 to 3 weeks, and he was expected to be back by now. Yet here we are, and Lamar's not back yet. Now, I want to put this out here, first of all. I've already expressed this. I said this after the game against the Falcons. I'm going to be very clear with this. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson should be back and playing. So, like, obviously, we know this week on Sunday Night Football, we take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And some people were hopeful that Lamar Jackson would play in that game. Me personally, I said I didn't expect him to play in that game, especially since the Ravens clinched a playoff spot. So that's not where the concerns are for me personally. Where the concerns are, or at least the interest is for the most part when it comes to the situation, is the fact that his injury is estimated to be 1 to 3 weeks. We're in week 4, and now he still has not returned to practice. That's my thing. I don't care about him playing the game or not. The fact that he's not on the practice field, that's where the concerns come in, because now we're at week 4, and Lamar Jackson isn't practicing. How you doing today? Oh, by the way, shout out. What's going on to everyone in the chat? Shout out to all you guys for pulling up. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. Yeah. So back on topic for a second. Yeah, Lamar Jackson. My concerns wasn't with him playing in this game. My focus for the most part was crap. That's terrible. My focus for the most part was whether or not Lamar Jackson will be practicing this week. Now, of course, we still have Thursday and Friday. He could always pull up to practice there. Who knows? But practice was today. We are in week 4 for this situation, and Lamar Jackson again did not show up to practice. He wasn't in practice. And that's leading people to have a lot of speculations and questions as to what's going on with Lamar Jackson. When Coach Harbaugh was asked about it today, he chose to dodge the question and mainly emphasize, I'm only focused on the individuals. I'm only focused on coaching the players we have here right now. So that was a very weird response. It was somewhat of an awkward response, like dodging the question that specific way. It kind of brings up the speculation that something's going on here regarding the Lamar Jackson situation. Now, like I said, the Ravens have already clinched a playoff spot, so it's not like Lamar Jackson himself has to play in this game against the Steelers. In fact, I personally don't want him to play in this game against the Steelers. He has no need to play in this game against the Steelers. I personally said if he's going to be here for the playoffs, then you would want to get him in the Cincinnati game. Give him as much rest as possible. They said it's a 1 to 3 week injuries. 5 weeks should be well enough for him to get that rest, come back and practice. And if you want to play him in the game against the Bengals, that would be the right time. That's what I said. So my concerns for Lamar Jackson playing isn't really up there yet, unless anything changes. But like it's not up there yet. However, I am a little bit alert right now in terms of the concern for him not practicing because there's a difference between just being on the practice field and actually playing a game. The fact that he's not on the practice field is a concern, and that's what's making this whole situation weird. And because of that, it's led to some speculations, and a lot of people have just been running their mouth and coming up with all these rumors and saying whatever they want to say. I don't know how factual these things are, and let me tell you something. Me personally, I hate having to talk about things that aren't facts. I hate having to talk about non-factual stuff. I don't want to hear opinion pieces. I don't want to hear rumors. I don't want to hear speculations. That is all opinion based. I like talking about facts. The only fact we have here is the fact that Lamar Jackson is still not practicing right now. But these speculations that are coming out, I don't care for them. Obviously, you guys have probably heard some of the speculations. Lamar Jackson not showing up for treatment, which again, I mean, just because he doesn't show up to the Ravens treatment doesn't mean he's not getting his own treatment. Usually, players have their own personal staff that they choose to handle whenever they get injured. So it's not a surprise. I'm sure Lamar has his own group of people that are helping with his treatment. So him not being there for treatments, or at least him allegedly not being there for treatments, isn't an issue, especially if he has his own people. Not to mention him just doing rehab at home could probably just help him out without him having to come to facilities. So that's a whole different thing. But that's one of the reports out there. Other reports about Lamar Jackson potentially quote unquote holding in, not really zoned in here. Just a bunch of other stuff. There's so much speculation here that honestly you don't even know what's real and what's not. And I really don't care to hear about any of this. The only thing I want to talk about is the fact. The fact of the matter is Lamar Jackson has not returned to practice. And honestly, we don't know if he's going to show up to practice tomorrow. We don't know if he's going to show up to practice on Friday. We know for sure he's not playing in that game, which again, I'm fine with. But in terms of practice, we have no clue if he's going to practice. And that is a concern, given the fact that a lot of people are hopeful that he'll come back and play in the playoffs. So the fact that he's just not practicing, that is somewhat of a concern. Cannot lie, that is somewhat of a concern. And you can only take it how you see it. Now, me personally, when it comes to the situation in terms of Lamar Jackson not practicing or not being on the field, I feel like there's three things that are in play. These three aspects. Now, this is just my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's true or not. What the? That should have been a. You know what? It's cool. It's cool. It wasn't a moving screen, I guess. But back to what I'm saying. Sorry, I'm going off topic. I believe there's three things that are playing here right now. Three factors that are playing into the situation as to why Lamar Jackson is not on the field. It's either A, Lamar Jackson is not fully healthy. The injury is a lot worse than we initially thought. Because here's the thing, the Ravens diagnosed Lamar with a knee injury, but I don't believe the Ravens directly said Lamar Jackson is suffering a PCL sprain. That was reported by other individuals, but it was never directly reported by the Ravens. Like the Ravens themselves did not come out. They came out and said Lamar is suffering from a knee injury, but they never came out and said Lamar was suffering from a PCL sprain. So I don't know if the injury is worse than just a simple sprain. Not to mention, everyone heals differently, and maybe Lamar Jackson is a slow healer. This could be one of the possibilities. So the number one thing we could look at here, and we could say, is number one thing we can look at and say here is that Lamar Jackson just isn't healthy enough to go out there and play. The knee is worse than we initially thought. The injury is worse than we initially thought, and it's going to take a little bit longer for Lamar Jackson to get back to where they want him to be. So that means he'll probably miss practice this week. They may try to get him to practice next week. And since they understand playoffs is the thing they're looking for, maybe he might not play and may not practice until the week of the playoffs, which could be the case. But I don't know. So that's the first option. The first option is Lamar Jackson's injury is more severe than we initially thought, and it's going to take a little bit more time for him to get back. Now, of course, if it's more severe than we thought, a lot of people are going to start to think like that this is similar to last year because last season when he did suffer that injury, originally we were thinking it was an ankle sprain and something or something like that, and then it turns out it was much more severe than that, and then Lamar ended up missing the rest of the season. A lot of people are scared that that could be the case this time, that Lamar Jackson's knee is worse than we thought, the injury's worse than we thought, and it could lead to a situation where maybe he doesn't even pull up for the playoff game. That could very well be the case, but we don't know. So I think that's the first option here. The reason Lamar Jackson isn't practicing is because he's just not ready to go yet. His injury's worse than we thought, and it's going to take a little bit more time for him to get back to where he wants to be. If that's the case, okay, so be it. We'll have to see how it goes. The Ravens don't have to give that information out to the media. They can just hold on to it as long as they can, and we'll just see what happens. We'll see what comes from that. So that's the first option. The second option here fits more with the narrative that a lot of the media people have been pushing out, as well as other fans that already believe he's gone. The second option here is that Lamar Jackson is healthy. However, he is personally choosing not to come back and play. So he's healthy, and the Ravens are looking to clear him and have him return back to practice, but Lamar Jackson himself is not ready to come back. He personally is holding back, and he's not coming out there himself. So that could be the second option. Similar to what we saw with Kawhi Leonard. Like, if you're an NBA fan, which, I mean, I'm sure a good chunk of you are, if you're an NBA fan and you're a basketball fan, then obviously you all remember the whole Kawhi Leonard situation back in San Antonio. This could be one of those cases. Kawhi himself did not want to. Kawhi himself was dealing with that injury. It was diagnosed as some sort of bone. It was a bone bruise or a thigh bruise or something like that. The Spurs cleared him, but he thought to himself he wasn't ready to come back, and he chose to stay longer and longer to give himself as much time as possible. Eventually, that ended up being controversial, and that turned into something bad, which eventually led to Kawhi Leonard being traded to the Toronto Raptors. So this could be a situation like this. Maybe Lamar just doesn't want to come back. He's looking at the situation around him, looking at the talent around him, looking at the fact that he still doesn't have a contract, and maybe he's thinking to himself, why should I go out there and put my body at risk? I already got injured. Why should I go in front and put my body at risk? They don't want to pay me, so why should I risk my body for them? That could be the case. Not to mention, if you're looking at the situation right now, I mean, the more Lamar misses time, the better he's looked overall, because since he's been gone this month, the Ravens offense has looked absolutely putrid, and the media has chewed out and completely buried this Ravens team. Because now all of a sudden you see there's no Lamar Jackson there. You're actually getting a look at the weapons and the offense that's there, and all of a sudden the media is like, yeah, this is who these guys throwing to. How do you expect them to win with this? The Ravens have failed Lamar Jackson. They haven't given them the proper weapons. Greg Roman's offense isn't great, so they haven't given them the right system to be able to fully thrive as a passer. There's so much there. There's so much there that the media is focused on right now. And because of that, a lot of people are believing that Lamar Jackson himself is going to choose to quote unquote hold out, which brings me back to the topic of him being quote unquote holding in. And he's just going to sit back and he's just going to wait and see how things pan out. Maybe he plays in the playoff game. Maybe he doesn't. You guys are one and done. If we're one and done, it happens. Until then, I mean, you still got a shot. I mean, you telling me we're one and done means absolutely nothing. You're entitled to your opinion, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. If it happens, so be it. If it doesn't happen and they go the distance, hey, all the power to us. We always like to do this whole you're one and done. We don't know what the hell's going to happen. We don't. Okay? You have no clue what's going to happen. Anything can happen in the playoffs. Okay? Only one team's going to win the Super Bowl, and only two teams are getting there. So for all these top teams that believe they're going to contend, only one of you's getting there. Teams like Buffalo that believe they're going to get there, you understand that only one team gets there. So you're not guaranteed to get there either. So in the playoffs, anything can happen. So me personally, I don't care if someone's saying they're going to go one and done. Hell, I personally said they're not going to the Super Bowl. So for me, it doesn't matter what other people are saying about them going one and done. Until it happens, you have a chance. If it happens, so be it. That's how the playoffs work. It's a one and done type situation. If they go one and done, cool. Until then, I could care less if people say they're going one and done. It doesn't matter. You're entitled to your opinion. Anyway, back on topic here. So the media has been burying the Ravens, and they have been looked at very bad by the media. So because of this, Lamar Jackson has actually been seen as he's been looked better at. He's been better viewed by the media because of this. And now you got all these other fan bases advocating for Lamar to come there. All these other fan bases hoping their team can go out and get Lamar. You got Miami fans talking about this. You got Jets fans talking about it too. So like all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson is wanted around the league. They're like, if the Ravens won't pay him, we sure will pay him. So his stock and his value just continues to increase the longer he's out because that offense looks future. And you can say whatever you want. Yeah, they won a couple games without Lamar, but guess what? A big part of why they won those games, actually a big part, the main part as to why they won those games have to do with the defense. Do you understand how well this defense, one has to do with the defense and another has to do with the competition. They're not going up against good teams. You're going up against bad teams that are under 500. And that defense is balling out. If it wasn't for your schedule and the guys you're going up against, and most importantly, if it wasn't for that defense playing the way they're playing, Baltimore wouldn't have won a game without Lamar. So we already see how things are going there in that type of situation. So the media clearly sees how bad that offense is. And since everyone's calling out the Ravens for it, Lamar is seen in a positive light. So when you look at the situation like that, honestly, Lamar, him not returning would help his stock even more. And it would be able to prove, it would probably force the Ravens to have to make that type of decision. Say, hey, we're not going to get to where we want to get to if we don't pay Lamar his money. So that could be the second option. Lamar Jackson could just be holding out. Well, not holding out. Could just be choosing not to return. And he could be healthy, but he's just choosing not to return because he's not going to risk further injury. That could very well be the case. Who the hell knows? But let's go on to the third option. And I think the third option best fits with this situation, and it best fits with what most of the Ravens flock believe. I don't know. I think it's the most reasonable out of the three because the first one is a possibility, but we just don't have the information. The second one is nothing more than speculation. But this third one is the most likely one. It's the most reasonable one. It's the most possible. Oh my God, why would I pass there? It's the most possible outcome out of all of these. And that outcome is Lamar. Oh my God! That outcome is Lamar Jackson is healthy enough to practice. Maybe he's not healthy enough to go out there and play games because he hasn't been on the field, but he is healthy enough to practice. However, the Ravens themselves are choosing to hold out a little bit longer on Lamar, specifically because they've already clinched the playoff spot, and there's no reason to rush Lamar Jackson back, especially when you clinch the playoff spot. This one makes the most sense out of all of them because the Ravens are already in the playoffs. No matter what happens these final two games, they will be in the postseason. Your franchise guy gets injured. Why would you look to press that issue? Why would you look to force him back on the field for these regular season games if you've already clinched the playoff spot? Baltimore is not dumb. If they want to go on a playoff run, you're going to need to have Lamar Jackson. There's no way around it. If you want to win a championship, or at least you believe you can win a championship, why not turn the ball over like that? If you believe you can get it done and go on a run, you're going to need your franchise guy. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it regarding the situation. So Baltimore knows they're going to need Lamar Jackson if they want to go on a run. This is a tough case here to discuss. So they know they're going to need Lamar Jackson. So because of that, it would make sense that since you've already clinched a playoff spot, there's no point in having Lamar come out here and risk getting injured again or furthering an injury on a regular season game. You've got plenty of time to sit back and wait and give Lamar, I let him green that, and give Lamar the opportunity to get healthy. I have really not been paying attention. I'm costing my team this game right now. Like, I legitimately need to be playing better. That's just me. But I'm talking about Lamar right now, so who cares about the game? Oh my God, look at the. But yeah, the Ravens themselves, they understand that they need Lamar for a playoff run. So if they want to get to where they want to get to, which is the promised land, the championship, they're gonna need Lamar Jackson. And you've already clinched a playoff spot. So why would you rush him? You don't even need to rush him for practice. The playoffs don't start for a good 3 weeks. It really comes down to that at the end of the day. So why would you look to play Lamar in a meaningless game against Pittsburgh, especially knowing their defense? Why would you put him out there on the field to go deal with TJ Watt when he's not 100%? Why would you look to do that? It just doesn't make sense. And the Ravens are a secretive team. So why would they put him out there this week against the Steelers? It wouldn't make sense. So they could definitely be looking to hold him. And at the end of the day, the playoffs don't start for a little while. You still got a couple weeks left. So you can always try to look to get him involved next week. You can always look to get him involved next week. You don't have to immediately put him out there. Get him involved next week. So that one would have to be the third option. So I think those are your three options. A, the injury is worse than we initially thought, and he's not ready to go. B, he is ready to go, but he himself is choosing not to play. Or C, the Ravens are choosing to hold Lamar back and give him extra time to heal since they've already clinched a playoff spot. I think those are your three best options, or I think those are the three most popular options, or the three most plausible options given the scenario. So I think that is the case. Other than that, um, I don't really know what else to tell you here. I think those are your three best scenarios, but who the hell knows? At the end of the day, this situation has been weird all around. We are really down by 17. This Phoenix team is a problem. We are gonna have to face off in some of the playoffs, and I gotta get aggressive. But yeah, I think those are your three best responses there. Either Lamar Jackson's injury is worse than we thought. Lamar Jackson is healthy enough to at least start practicing, but he's choosing to hold out himself and not clear himself, similar to what Kawhi did when he was with the Spurs. Or he is healthy enough, and the Ravens are but the Ravens are choosing not to have him play because they've already clinched a playoff spot. I think number three is the most plausible, but number one could also be in play. So like, let's not sit there and pretend like it isn't possible for Lamar to be in a situation like that. Lamar could very well still be hurt, and we just don't know it. We don't really know the full extent of his injury. We're kind of just assuming because it said it was a PCL injury that all of a sudden he's just like, oh, it's a lot worse than we thought. But that doesn't mean that it's automatically the case. You know, anything could really be the scenario here, and we kind of just have to sit back and just like think of all the possible outcomes here. You know, you just don't know. I think that's just how I look at the situation. We just don't know. We don't know enough to make a type. Oh wow, how did he steal the ball? We just don't know enough. That's halftime. Let me pause this for a second. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say on my three ideas here. Let me read some of these comments. Um, this is what the team gets if we're being honest. I mean, I guess that could be the case. I don't know. I guess this is what the Ravens deserve for not handling the Lamar Jackson situation better. Honestly, if they lose Lamar Jackson, this is going to be a horrible look on the franchise. They've had a great reputation, but they've never had a player like Lamar. They've never had a player like Lamar. And if you lose something like that, especially at the quarterback position, yeah, the Ravens will not look good out of this. Their reputation literally could be on the line here. You lose Lamar Jackson, no one's going to look at you as a proud franchise anymore. So is this the end of my boy Lamar? I don't know if that's the case. Who the hell knows? What time do you think the Bengals game will be? It depends on what happens on Sunday Night Football. If the Ravens win, then they're gonna probably put that as a 4:25 game, or maybe that could be the Sunday Night Football game. Because I don't know if people want to sit back and watch Tennessee and Jacksonville fight for the playoffs. If Baltimore beats Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football, no matter what happens on Monday Night Football, the next week will be for the division. So if the Ravens beat the Steelers on Sunday, next week is for the AFC North. And I'm pretty sure the NFL knows that people would rather watch Baltimore and Cincinnati go at it than Tennessee and Jacksonville. Specifically, not even specifically, but especially because there's a possibility Lamar Jackson plays in that game, especially since it will be for the division. I don't think people are looking to watch Malik Willis. I think they know that that's not exact. Not to mention the Titans right now, they're missing a lot of guys. Derrick Henry is doubtful for this week. So who the hell knows if he's going to be out there next week? Yeah, that might be a Sunday Night Football game, but who knows? Maybe it's a 4:25 game. All I hope is Lamar is healthy for the playoffs. We'll have to see, man. I want Lamar to leave and come home to Miami. That could be the case, but he can't leave. The Ravens can franchise tag him. Now, he can be traded, but he can't just up and leave. I'm hoping he comes back, but reports have said that last Saturday he was walking with a significant limp. Yeah, so again, the possibility that Lamar Jackson's knee injury is a lot worse than we initially thought could be on the table. Maybe he's just not good to go. The injury is going to take a little bit longer to get healthy. So I think number one or number three is possible. I don't think number two is a lot of speculation, so I'm not buying this number two. But number one, Lamar injury is a lot more worse than we initially thought. I think that could very well be the case, but we don't know. You said it in the past, and I will bring it back up. If Lamar Jackson leaves, the fact that we haven't won a Super Bowl with him will be the biggest L in franchise history. I did say that. And you're absolutely correct. That would be the biggest blemish for this franchise. It would be a horrible look. The Ravens control their own destiny. We will see what happens. That is true. I think Lamar needs at least one game to get his legs back. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we don't have a lot of examples of Lamar leaving for a lot of time and then coming back. We have one example because last year he left and just did not come back. He got injured, did not return for the rest of the season. But the other time we could talk about was like that little period of time where he was gone. You know, like he didn't play that Steelers game and then he came back on Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys and he looked fine. And honestly, from the Cowboys game on, for the rest of the season, he just those last 5 games, Lamar Jackson played like an MVP and he looked perfectly fine. Like there was no rust there. So who the hell knows if he's gonna need to get his legs back? Then again, this is his knee, and when he was gone, he wasn't injured. So who knows? Maybe he does need to get his legs back. Denver's cleaning house. Not surprised. They've already fired Hackett. They are considering keeping Russell Wilson because they believe that's still a fixable situation, and we'll see what happens when it comes to that. But we'll see. You think the Ravens can win the division or just rest up for the playoffs? Well, here's the thing. Lamar Jackson is most likely not. I'm gonna say Lamar Jackson's not playing against the Steelers. He's not going out there. The Ravens can beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not invincible, so the Ravens can definitely beat Pittsburgh. And if they beat Pittsburgh, then Week 18 is for the division, and it's possible for them to win the division and beat the Cincinnati Bengals. But you're not beating Cincinnati without Lamar Jackson. Tyler Huntley's not good enough to help you get. Yeah, he's just not. I'm sorry. He's a solid backup. He's good, but he's not good enough to help you beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Not with Joe Burrow on the other side. If you're gonna, you need a Lamar Jackson to counter Joe Burrow. You need to have one great guy with another great guy, one star player against another star player. Tyler Huntley is not good enough to get that done. So if Tyler Huntley is the starter for that Week 18 game against Cincinnati, you might as well pack up. Cincinnati's won the division, and that means Baltimore's conceded, or Lamar Jackson's not good to go. Who the hell knows? But it is possible for the Ravens to win the division, but you need Lamar Jackson back to see what happens. They may just, depending on what happens Sunday Night Football, I think it all comes down to that. If they beat the Steelers, they are going for that division in Week 18. Let's say Lamar is almost healthy, but not fully for the Bengals game. Should we play him to try to win the division or let him rest? I don't see why you would you would risk it. Here's the thing: if Baltimore loses that game, because okay, right now Baltimore's 10-5, and I believe the Chargers are 9-6, correct? So the Chargers are 9-6, Baltimore's 10-5. If the Chargers win their final 2 games and Baltimore loses one of their last 2 games, they can end up falling to the 6th seed. It's very possible. Hell, if Baltimore loses against Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football, there's a high chance they fall to the 6th seed, which means that by the playoff seeding, if Baltimore was to fall to the 6th seed, they will have a wild card matchup on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. So if the Ravens don't beat the Steelers, there is no need to play Lamar in Week 18 because you will be playing the Cincinnati Bengals in the wild card round in the first place. We could fall to the 6th seed, and if we fall to the 6th seed and Cincinnati wins the division, the Ravens and the Bengals are immediately facing off again the following week. So there's no reason to throw Lamar Jackson out there if we were to lose against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think it all depends on what happens this week, and we'll talk about that depending on how this game goes down on Sunday Night Football. Lamar's gone. I mean, if he wants to be traded, he can actually be traded, but he can't just up and leave. Lamar's a Steeler, sure. You got the picks. I mean, if you got all, first of all, you want Lamar. We want all your draft picks for the next 5 years and give us TJ Watt. And I'm sure the Ravens will be willing to trade him. We like win or go home games in the final game of the regular season. I mean, it's always interesting when we get to be in one of those. Trade Greg Roman for a real offensive coordinator. Bro, if we could do that, we would have done that a long time ago. Lamar might play in the postseason. Yeah, I mean, it's expected. Most of us believe he's going to play in the playoffs, so that's not too much of a concern here. We believe he will be playing in the playoffs. But, I mean, a good chunk of us believe he'll be playing in the playoffs. The Ravens are hopeful that he'll be playing in the playoffs. We honestly don't know. I'm hopeful that he will play in the postseason because I'm not trying to watch a playoff game with Tyler Huntley. If we're going to go one and done, I'd rather just see us. Well, first of all, I don't want us to go one and done, but if we're going to play in the playoffs, I prefer us have Lamar there just because, like, Lamar's going to give you your best chance to potentially win that type of game and that type of matchup. And I would prefer, to have my best guy out there. You know, as the leader of the franchise for a reason. Oh, wait. Giannis. Giannis wants to work it. Oh, Holiday in the corner. He's not Middleton. He can't hit that. He's not Middleton. He can't hit that. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have a game like that, I would at least hope that Lamar Jackson is gonna be out there. No one wants to see a Tyler Huntley playoff game. For the love of God, Baltimore cannot handle. Um, Baltimore cannot handle a tie. The Ravens flock cannot handle a Tyler Huntley playoff game. No, it wouldn't go well here. It wouldn't go well here. Damn. Also, we don't know how to run plays here. Thank you, Middleton. Let me pause this for a second because I gotta read some of these chats. Best we can do is Matt Cannon and Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah, you're not getting a damn thing. I hope Lamar shuts it down and teaches the front office a lesson. I mean, he could, but again, see, I don't know. I really don't know. We could hope for a lot of things, but we just don't know Lamar Jackson's mindset. See, here's my thing. You don't have to play for the rest of the season, but you do have a chance to go compete for a title. You don't get these opportunities every year. We take this for granted, but it's not easy to make the playoffs. It's not easy to make the playoffs. That's just me. It's not easy to make the playoffs. Whether or not Lamar Jackson plans to leave after this, I wouldn't see a problem with him playing in that playoff game. See if you can go on a title run with them. Even if you're planning to move on, you're in the playoffs. Might as well see what you can do in the tournament. Why would you just shut it down completely? It's not easy. Not to mention, the next time you'll have to be here is a year later. You're in the playoffs now. Why would Lamar Jackson, the guy that has sat back and talked about wanting to win a championship, why wouldn't he utilize his opportunity? Even if he believes, even if he's already made up his mind or he's choosing to leave and he's going to tell the franchise, trade me in the offseason, even if that's to be the case, like some people are speculating, why not at least try to go with this team now and see if he can win a championship? Hell, if you win a championship now, maybe Baltimore gives you the money you want, or maybe that helps you stock. Why the hell would he just waste a year? It doesn't make sense for a guy like that constantly talk. They always talk about this. Mark Andrews and everyone says it. Lamar talks about winning a Super Bowl every day. Every day. Damn near every day he's talking about winning a Super Bowl. Why would somebody like that waste an opportunity here just to teach them a lesson? How is that really going to teach them a lesson? If you're planning to leave anyway, you know what will teach them a lesson? Telling them trade me. That'll teach him a lesson. That'll teach him a huge lesson. Maybe they'll give him the money he wants if he says trade me. Like, why would he waste an opportunity? It's not easy to get to the playoffs. And it's a long season. Why would he waste an opportunity? Unless you're telling me Lamar Jackson's fully content. You don't know where you're going to get traded. They could trade you to a bad team that doesn't have the proper tools to succeed. Do you want to deal with that? Who the hell knows? I'm just saying, why would Lamar Jackson waste an opportunity right now to go compete for a championship in the playoffs? Whether or not they get there, it doesn't matter. Why not take the opportunity? It's not easy to get to the playoffs, and the next time you're going to be in this position will be a year from now. Why would he wait? A guy that constantly talks about Super Bowls, talks about wanting to win a Super Bowl, why would he not just go with this team? If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But why not just still play and see what you can get? It'd be dumb for him to just sit out and miss that playoff game if he's good to go. I mean, if he can't go, he can't go. But if he can go, see what you can do with this team. Even if you're planning to get asked to be traded in the offseason, see what you can do with this team. See what you can do in this playoffs. It's not easy to get into the postseason. It's not easy to be in the position in the playoffs. And you don't know the next time you're going to be there. Why waste that opportunity? Especially for a guy that talks about winning a championship. It just doesn't make sense for him to do that. That's just what I'm saying. So even if he plans to leave, I can at least see him playing in that playoff game and seeing if he can go the distance. Because if you go the distance and win the championship and you still want to leave afterwards, that makes your value even better for the next team that you get traded to. All right, only thing I'm worried about is Lamar's injury is worse than we thought. That could be the option, which I'm thinking is a possibility. Pray you don't play against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Why? Why? No matter what you do, the Chiefs and the Bills are most likely getting them 1 and 2 seed. So no matter what everyone else in the other seeds do, in the second round, you're getting Kansas City or Buffalo. So who the hell can pray you don't meet the Chiefs? If you want to go to the Super Bowl, chances are you're gonna have to run to the Chiefs. So why would you pray? If you're not good enough to beat the best, what's the point? If you're afraid to take on the top competition, what's the point of going to the playoffs? Give that playoff spot to somebody else that's worthy. Why would you pray? I don't care who we go up against. We go up against any team. I don't care. If you win, cool. If you don't, so be it. That's sports. It's competition. Who's gonna be scared? I'm not scared of Kansas City. I'm not scared of Buffalo. As a fan of the game that loves competition, why would I want to see my team duck competition? That's weird. I don't want to see them duck competition. If they get blown out, they get blown out. That's the effort they put out there. But why would they duck? It's competition, sports. You want to go up against the best. I mean, for God's sakes, again, not even making comparisons, but you look at the Super Bowl run that the Ravens had in 2012. They didn't duck anybody. They went into Denver to take on Peyton Manning, and then they went into Foxborough to take on Brady. We didn't duck those guys. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You want to get the championship, take on the top tier guys. Why would you want to duck and pray you don't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? Why would I do that? I want to see my team go up against the best of competition. If they're good enough to beat them, cool. If they're not, they can see what they need to fix and improve. Like, who's going to want to duck competition? It's sports. Ducking better competition. If that's the case, don't even enter the playoffs because the playoffs are serious. If you're thinking about ducking guys in the postseason, then don't enter in the first place because you don't belong. That type of mentality is what gets a lot of playoff teams one and done because you feel like you don't belong. Like, no, I'm not going to pray we don't meet the Chiefs in the playoffs. I hope we meet Kansas City in the playoffs. Most likely in the AFC Championship game. I would love that. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but why would you duck competition? No way he sits out. It's too much. He's too much of a competitor and doesn't want to let his teammates down. That is true. Another issue with the Ravens is should they keep Ronnie Stanley? He's holding up cap space. That is a question they're going to have to address in the offseason. If he was going to sit out, why would he go to the games when he doesn't have to? That means he can still be there to show support. No more Superman to the rescue. The disrespect has been ridiculous. I mean, I wouldn't agree. I mean, if he chooses to do that, it is what it is. Yeah, Ravens need a backup solution for Ronnie Stanley. Makes too much money to miss almost 2 seasons. But we have to see how Ronnie Stanley goes moving forward because he suffered a horrible injury. If he ends up having injury issues next season, then I can actually agree with the statement. But I would have to see. The fact that we're in the playoffs increases the chances of LJ staying. The fact that we got in the playoffs in the last 3 to 4 years proves we're a good team. As for great, we'll see. I agree. Exactly. I don't understand fans saying they would rather play this team over the other. No championship team has ever been scared of other teams. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Exactly like you said. If you want a Super Bowl, we're going to have to play Kansas City or Buffalo. Yeah, that's the truth. You're going to play one of them, if not both. Why would we want to play? Why would we want to possibly play 2 of the 3 best teams in the snow your first 2 weeks with this offensive? There's no way to duck them. There's no way to duck them. Do you not understand? We're not talking about wild card round. With the way the Ravens are set up, they have, unless the Ravens get the 7th seed, they're not going up against either one of those teams. What's going on, Legendary? The only way Baltimore takes on Kansas City is if they end up the 7th seed, which is highly unlikely. So the only time you're going to get to go up against either Kansas City or Buffalo would have to be in the divisional round. There's no way to escape them. If they don't lose, they're going to be in the divisional round, and you have to take them on. So it's not about do you want to take them on. You're going to have to deal with them in the divisional round. Not the wild card round, the divisional round. It's not being scared. It's strategic. And we play the struggling Titans right now over a hot Jags team. What's wrong with that? Justin, first of all, Justin, I think you're kind of missing the thing here. I don't know if you guys are just assuming Baltimore is going to play the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the 2 seed. Unless Cincinnati takes that away, there's no way Baltimore's playing Kansas City or Buffalo in the first round. The only way Baltimore plays Kansas City or Buffalo in the first round is if they become the 7th seed, which is where the Dolphins are. The Dolphins are the 7th seed. If Baltimore becomes the 7th seed, then they'll play Kansas City or Buffalo, depending on who gets the number 1 seed. But the Ravens right now are the 5th seed, so they'll take on the Titans. If they win the division, they'll be the 3rd seed, which takes on the 3 seed, which is the Chargers. So unless you're telling me you don't want to take on the Chargers, that's a different conversation. But you're not taking on Kansas City, you're not taking on Buffalo. So unless you're telling me you don't want to take on the Chargers, that's the case. But either or, I don't see much of a difference because the Jacksonville Jaguars are hot right now. We've already lost to them. So you're going to go up against a hot Jags team or a Chargers team that's kind of streaky. You're not getting Kansas City in the wild card round. There's no Kansas City possibility here. So unless you get the 7th seed, which is possible to happen, but it's very unlikely, especially because you secured a playoff spot. The chances of that happening is rare. It's like everybody needs. I think Miami's got to win their last 2 games for sure, and then Baltimore has to lose their last 2 games. It's a bunch of scenarios, but the chances of Baltimore getting the number 7 seed is very rare. So you're not going to be taking on Kansas City or Buffalo in the first round. That's for the divisional round. In the wild card, you're going to get most likely the Chargers, maybe the Dolphins, or the Jaguars, or the Bengals, or the Titans. There's no Kansas City in the first round. No, I'm saying if we stay at 5. I mean, we could stay at 5. If we lose to these 2 teams, we're in trouble. If you go to 7th seed, it can happen. Ravens lose to the Bills in the divisional. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I predicted that to happen before the year started. So, yeah. But I am because I don't see us beating the Bengals last game of the year. Yeah, but if you beat Pittsburgh, you're still not going to be the seventh seed. And if you're the fifth seed, you'll beat Jacksonville. And if you win the division, you'll take on the Chargers, a team that's not exactly secure. The Chargers have very clear weaknesses, and they're not as great as people think they are. So again, you're not dealing with Kansas City or Buffalo in the first round. That's not a concern. Yeah, Carr got benched. What do you think the Raiders' move next year is going to be? Well, I think Carr's time is up in with this Raiders team. I think his time's up for being with Las Vegas. So they're probably going to look to move him. If not, try to see if they can buy him. He may get they might buy him out or something, or he may get traded somewhere else. So they may be looking to pick up a new quarterback. I don't know what they're gonna do, but they're gonna be looking to pick up a new quarterback. Unfortunately, they cannot get rid of Josh McDaniels because of his contract, so he's stuck here. And yeah, they're probably gonna be looking to move on to a new quarterback, and that's just what their main move is gonna be, trying to get away from Derek Carr and see what you can do after that. Only playoff scenario I would hate is playing Cincinnati back to back. It's hard to be a divisional rival, let alone a team you have played a lot and knows you very well. I mean, true, it's possible. Trevor Lawrence will carve us up if we face him. We've already faced him once. Now, here's the thing. When we faced off at let me think. No, we had I believe we had Roquan Smith when we faced off against him. Did we? Yeah, we did. We did. We certainly did. So I don't know. I mean, he already played against us once and he beat us because the Ravens choked at the end of the day. I don't know. It depends. I would have to see how the Ravens defense plays. You know what? I think it comes down to how the secondary plays, particularly Marcus Peters. Does he redeem himself? Because um, Trevor Lawrence, quote unquote, carved up the defense when really he just carved up whoever was being covered by Marcus Peters. Because Marlon Humphrey didn't give him a touchdown. Marcus Williams was doing his job. Like the safeties in Marlon Humphrey were pretty much doing what they were supposed to do. The only one that was getting repeatedly cooked was specifically Marcus Peters. So if he performs better in this game, chances are what happened last time doesn't happen this time around. So who the hell knows? Chargers are flawed. Yeah, they are. They can't run the football well. They cannot consistently run the football well. Do you think Washington will trade for Carr? It's possible knowing that franchise. Lamar is on his way out. He's played his last down as a Raven. If it happens, so be it. But at the same time, I mean, the only way he can leave is if he gets traded. You guys keep assuming he can just walk away. He cannot walk away. He literally cannot walk away. The only way Lamar Jackson is no longer a Raven is if he gets traded. He is not a free agent. The Ravens can franchise tag him. So he can't just walk away. Like, y'all keep assuming he can just walk away and go wherever he wants. No. The only way Lamar will no longer be a Raven next year is if the Ravens trade him. The possibility is there. So saying Lamar may have played his last game as a Raven, unless he's going to sit out for over a year, I don't see how that's going to happen, which dude is not going to sit out. I'm not worried about beating the Steelers. Our defense owns them right now. But the Bengals, we need Lamar. Of course you need Lamar. Of course you need Lamar. The only thing I'm worried about is the defense. They might choke again. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I'm not even sure if Carr is 100% at fault here. Well, Josh McDaniels is a terrible head coach, so I think he has a big part to play. But Carr has some responsibility as a quarterback, but he could play better. But it's not all his fault. The Raiders should have kept. Yeah, they should have. They really should have kept it, but they chose not to. I like Pepe over Peters right now. Maybe I'm tripping. Pepe's playing well. Pepe's playing well, so we'll see. Only way Lamar played his last game for us is if the injury is worse than we expected. If the injury is worse than expected, he's playing if he's healthy. We'll see. Tag and trade. People want us to just let him walk. He's not going to walk. They're going to throw a franchise tag at him. Chargers are also flawed at head coach. He's worse than Harbaugh with gambling addiction. Harbs is really bad at it. And sometimes it works out for them, and sometimes it doesn't. Hopefully, Carolina doesn't make the same mistake with Steve Wilkes. Sorry for. I mean, if they, I don't know. Gotta ask my guy Brodney about that. I was actually shout out to my guys at the Lunch Break Hot Take. I was watching their live stream earlier today. They would talk about this too, and it's possible that Steve doesn't even return. I don't even know if the Panthers are looking to have him as their head coach moving forward, even though he's doing well with this Panthers team. I don't know. What are the chances that he stays though? I mean, it's possible. We don't know what Lamar Jackson's thinking, so the chances could be high. It doesn't look like he. Again, this is the guy that had a tattoo of the Ravens on. I'm just saying, it's possible he stays. It's a high chance he stays if the Ravens give him what he wants. If the Ravens give him what he wants, he's not going anywhere. But if they don't, there's a chance he leaves. That's just how it is. Look how poorly these organizations handle the situation around him. I don't blame him, to be honest. I mean, it is what I don't know. I legitimately don't know. I can't speak for the man in terms of his decisions. In terms of his chances to go or stay, I don't know. I think it literally just comes. Wow, come on, guys. Giannis, I need you to pay for that. I literally think it depends on what the Ravens do. If the Ravens give him what he wants, I don't see how he's not there moving forward. But if they don't, then yeah, he may ask for a trade. It's very possible. I just don't know. It's a lot of moving pieces right now, and I don't know what the Ravens choose to do. Now Devin Booker's trying to drive. Devin Booker with the what? Yo, I feel like low key he was very pushy with that though. Come on, nah, bro, I gotta get that back. Oh no, I got trapped. 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 The Bucks are in overtime against the Bulls. I'm not cool with that. There we go. Move it. Finish that, bro. Finish that. How the hell did Chicago tie that game? How did Chicago tie that game? That's crazy. Staley will go for it back against their own 30 for no reason. He's a huge wild card. Well, you know what? I'll say this. He was doing that a lot last season and it cost him games. He's toned that down from what he was doing last year. So there's not a lot of times where he's going to do that. He did it against us, but I don't think he would do it against us again if he met us in the playoffs. Funny that Lamar will make an insane amount of money if we just franchise tag him every year. I don't know if he would, but still. I mean, yeah, he would make a crap ton of money. Baltimore can't afford that, which is why you would need to make a contract. You would need to give him an extension. You can't just do the franchise tag. That franchise tag is expensive and it goes higher each year. Panthers need to, especially if they make the playoffs. All the players and staff in that locker room want him to stay. If they let Wilkes go, it'll hurt the team and fan morale. I don't know if they're going to keep him though. So that's an interesting situation. But yeah, HC picks. I did not know the Bucks and Bulls were in overtime. That's crazy. Like when analyst said, Lamar made a commitment and promised to lead the contract talk to the offseason and play. Kyler Murray did his job in the offseason, not week 17 of the season. Yeah, I don't think again, Lamar is about his business, and he already said he was going to handle it in the offseason. So none of that's really going to, I don't think any of that's going to play out here in the, I don't think that's going to play out here in week 17. I think for the most part, give it right here. I'm going for this. Let me put it in. How you feel about that, Devin Booker? You took it the distance. I'm gonna retaliate. Also, it's a 3-point game, so I was playing bad in the first half, so I had to get us back into. We were down by 12. I apologize for my play in the first half, but now we back in this. We're not gonna lose after this. This is a 3-point game. As long as coach don't take me out. As long as coach don't take me out. Look at that defense. Look at that defense. Look at that defense. Giannis. Oh, why'd he step back? Why'd you step back? And one. Okay, sorry. I gotta answer some more questions. Yeah. Lamar is gonna handle it in the offseason. At this point, would you rather win the division with Lamar 75% healthy or be a wild card when Lamar is 100%? Well, I mean, you are a wild card no matter what. You don't get a playoff. You don't get a berth. Not berth. You don't get a bye week in the playoffs. We're a wild card team no matter what. I know what you mean. Would you rather be a divisional winner or a wild card winner? Which means would you rather have a home playoff game or a away playoff game? I mean, since I live in Maryland, I would love to go to the home playoff game. So I would prefer to win the division for bragging rights in a home playoff game. But if I can get Lamar Jackson at 100%, I will take the away playoff game. So if it takes Lamar not playing these last two games for him to be 100% for that playoff game, I'm all for it. Ravens front office are idiots. Talk about wasted generational talent, rookie scale contract. I mean, I feel like I got to make a video about this, and I might wait until the season ends. But I got a theory, or I got a belief, a certain belief about the Ravens right now involving Lamar Jackson, how they've handled the situation. Because no matter what you want to say, this franchise is about 25 years old. So they're still relatively young in the NFL, technically, if you count it like that. They were created in 1996. The Jaguars technically are older than Jaguars are 95. They were 95 or 97. So we're not an old franchise. We're a relatively young franchise. And this franchise has been built on defense in the run game. They've never had a quarterback or a player of this level of ability. They've never had somebody like a Lamar Jackson, a superstar player, especially at the quarterback position. An offensive player that's this good. The Ravens franchise seems to have never had an offensive player this good. And for a franchise that's been built around the defense, to have a quarterback like that, maybe it's a possibility that the Ravens just weren't ready to have a superstar quarterback. Maybe they just didn't. We were too early. If you're a One Piece fan, you understand what I mean. Maybe we were too early, Ravens flock. Maybe we were too early. We were too early to really have that type of quarterback. Because maybe the Ravens just weren't ready. Because they haven't adapted to how things work. They haven't adapted their offense to the modern passing game. They haven't adapted. They're still running plays like it's 2002. They haven't changed their offense. They haven't adapted it. They're still trying to play that old school football. They haven't made those changes. So maybe we just weren't ready for a quarterback like Lamar. Maybe we were too early. Maybe we were too early. And they thought they could just continue to have that same mindset like it's 2002, but with the superstar quarterback. Maybe the Ravens they were too early. They were too early. That could very well be the possibility. Let me tie this game up real quick. And I feel like I'm gonna talk about that in a video. Oh, I missed the free throw. Oh, I'm choking. And I fouled. No. Coach put me on the bench. I actually needed a break though. While we have this running, I'm actually gonna take some of this time to talk with y'all for a sec. Okay, actually no, we're down. Let's see, Ibaka. Okay, no, okay, y'all handling yourselves. Y'all handling yourselves. Okay, I gotta go back in. It's a tie game. I gotta go back in. Okay, it's a tie game. Let me pause here for a second. But yeah, maybe we just weren't ready for a quarterback of this stature. I don't think the Ravens were just ready for this. Ravens' philosophy of always zigging and zagging don't work anymore. The moment you get a generational quarterback stuck in the 2000s, yeah, I just don't think the Ravens were ready. They weren't ready to make the transition into the modern day offense, so they weren't ready for a quarterback like Lamar Jackson. Sometimes it takes a situation like this to really learn from it, and I don't think the Ravens were ready to move on from that sort of mindset. Exactly, that's why the Ravens' way of thinking is flawed. You're either going to have to extend him or franchise tag him every year. Both are going to be an insane amount of money. Just pay him this offseason. We'll see what happens. Lamar Jackson to the Raiders, why would they trade him to the Raiders, and what would they get back that would be even remotely close to the value they want? It's not going to happen. Trade Carr for a first, get Jackson with a... Are you smoking? I'm out. I'm not even gonna deal with that. I'm not even gonna deal with that comment. Lamar Jackson might go to Atlanta. He can't go anywhere. Again, Bryce, I don't know why you guys keep assuming he can go anywhere. Let me tell you this again. Lamar Jackson cannot go anywhere this offseason of his own free will. The only way he is no longer a Raven is if they trade him, because they can franchise tag him. He can't just up and say, I'm going to Atlanta. He has to be traded there. They can still franchise tag him. He hasn't reached that stage where they can't use the franchise tag. So no, he cannot go to Atlanta. He would have to be traded to Atlanta. Glad the Heat got a win tonight, especially with Jimmy Butler and Bam back. Yeah, my boy Jimmy Butler getting it done. What was it, 27 points? I think he had 27. LeBron also had 27, but they beat the Lakers. I mean, it's not a huge victory. Lakers are falling into the abyss, but Miami's got to stack up wins. And again, I still feel like you need other pieces here too. It can't just be Jimmy on his own. I need other pieces here. Well, they did say that the Raiders bench Carr so that he could be healthy when they trade him, so this could be a possible. The Ravens aren't trading for Derek Carr. Please get off the molly. The fact that you think, one, they're going to trade him to an AFC contender is crazy. And two, why would they trade him to the Raiders of all chances? What would the Raiders possibly have that they would even closely want? Why would they take Derek Carr as their quarterback? Because Derek Carr wouldn't be able to run the system. Assuming Greg Roman's still here next year with this idea that they trade Lamar, Derek Carr can't run that system. So why would they trade for somebody like him? They wouldn't. If anything, Miami has the talent that they would trade for. Miami clearly has the talent that they would trade for. Like, come on, bro. Oh, no, that was almost a bad play. Almost a bad. There you go. I'm sorry. I'm glad I got out of there. So, no, it wouldn't trade Derek Carr to the Ravens. Tree did predict Derek Carr would be going to the Ravens. Tree literally made that speculation. He's like, I don't know why. First of all, that's not a prediction from Tree. It's just a feeling from him. It's literally, oh, wow, he just hit that and I just let that happen. I wouldn't say it's a direct prediction from Tree. I wouldn't quote him on that. Because, I mean, Tree ain't trying to get himself involved in that. It's like, oh, well, I said they were going they were going to trade Carr to the Ravens, and all of a sudden it happens. Don't quote him directly on that. I don't think Tree wants to be quoted directly on that. Well, they did say that no, I don't think it would happen. Lamar will get paid and stay. I think at the end of the day, the Ravens will see how massive it'll be to let him go, and that will make the entire offense useless since it basically runs through him. I mean, the offense is useless now, and they weren't paying the receivers or the quarterback. So what changes with giving Lamar Jackson a contract? You know what's affected? Like, legitimately, why would he? Why would he? Why would they? Why would I mean? They're not paying for. They're not really investing in the receivers. They're investing in the defense. If anything, the defense will get hurt. Nothing's gonna change even if they give Lamar a contract. He definitely need a little more, need more help, especially with the rebounds. Yurtsevin is out for a while still. Yeah, it's gonna take some while. Hey dummies, I mean he's walking. They won't franchise tag him if he doesn't want to be there. I meant the Raiders sign him because they get your this guy's an idiot. I'm sorry. I don't mean to call people an idiot. Jacob, I apologize for that because again that one right there, that comment right there was just so delusional by you. Why would a team willingly let a superstar quarterback walk when you could trade him for pieces? I want you to think for a second. You please, Jacob, I want you to think for a second. Forget about whether or not he goes over. Why, even if they don't franchise him, why the hell would a franchise? First of all, if he doesn't sign the franchise tag, they can hold him out. They can still look to trade him. Why the hell would a team willingly let a quarterback walk? Why the hell would they willingly do that when they can trade for him? When they can trade him? Why would they willingly let him walk when they can trade him? How? You know what they could do if Lamar really wants to go? Lamar, he goes and say, I don't want to be on this team anymore. All right, Lamar, we accept it. But here's what we can do. Give us a few destinations you want to be traded to, and we'll help you out there. Why would they willingly, if you know Lamar Jackson isn't coming back, why wouldn't you trade him? Why would they, we're not this ain't the OKC Thunder where they just let KD walk for nothing. They're not about to just let a superstar quarterback just walk for nothing. If Lamar truly wants to leave, then the man is going to tell the Ravens, I'm not signing any franchise tag. And you know what they can do? They can have a conversation with him and say, hey, if you don't want to be here, that's fine. We'll look to trade you. You know who wanted to leave? Hollywood Brown. You know how he left? He got traded. They weren't going to give him a contract in the offseason, so you know what? He handled it like a professional. He handled it like a professional, and they looked for a spot for him to get traded, and it worked out. So Lamar Jackson doesn't want to come back, which again, speculation. We don't know what the man wants to do. If he's not looking to come back, they're not going to let him walk. They're going to talk to him. If he doesn't want to come back, if they can't convince him, they're going to look for spots to trade him. Part specifically to the NFC, because they're not trading into an AFC opponent. They're going to trade him, and they're going to get value for him. That just makes no sense to let a superstar quarterback walk. In what league do you think that's ever going to happen in? Maybe they let that happen in the NBA. OKC was stupid to let that happen. Why would the Ravens willingly let that happen? That's just crazy talk. Get Lamar to the Bears, and we get Justin Fields. You know, funny thing is they could do that. They could do that. If you're looking for somebody that can run this system, I think Justin Fields could certainly run the system. That would be one place you could bring a guy that could if they wanted to do that. Is Sunday night even worth it to go to M&T Bank Stadium if Lamar's not playing? I mean, it's up to you if you want to go. I mostly see either the Giants or Miami. Giants? Giants? No. You got the Miami one right. But you got the wrong NFC team. You know where I could really see Lamar Jackson going? San Francisco. You don't think Kyle Shanahan will give up whatever picks they need to get this man, Lamar Jackson? They literally just need a quarterback. Future draft picks, they don't care about that. They've got the defense. They've got the talent on offense. They literally need a quarterback. If San Francisco heard Lamar Jackson was up on the trade block, they don't give a damn what draft picks they got to give up to get him. They are going to go get Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't say the Giants. I would say the Bulls won? Wow, that's crazy. You don't call no one an idiot. You are absolutely right. That is my mistake. I apologize for that specifically. That comment was just so ignorant to me that I just literally could not stop myself from saying that. But I do apologize though. You know me. I shouldn't be saying things like that. But that was just a very that comment was just so bad. That comment was just so bad that I legitimately couldn't stop myself from saying that. Pretty much any team in the NFC South is possible if you ask me. I still don't. I'm telling you, San Francisco is the one. If they got to trade picks, if they got to trade players, they're going to do whatever it takes to pick up Lamar Jackson. They don't care what they have to trade. They are going to pick up Lamar. They'll lose out on some guys, but they're going to get Lamar Jackson because they're a quarterback away from They're winning games without having a legit quarterback. Oh my God, they get Lamar. It's a different conversation. Lamar and the Vikings with Justin Jefferson would be insane. I don't know. They're kind of feeling Kirk Cousins. I don't know. Like this season, they're really feeling Kirk Cousins. I don't think he's going there. Lamar's staying with the Ravens unless the ownership doesn't want him to stay, which would be crazy. So yeah, it comes down to Steve Scott if he's willing to pay him. The Niners are going to be stuck with Jimmy G no matter what they do. That'd be crazy if that happens. San Fran doesn't have the draft capital, and it would look bad for the front offices and Shanahan if they move off Trey Lance right away after giving him 3 first rounders from. No one would give a damn. Let me tell you right now. Let me tell you right now. Straight up. Straight up. Straight up. If you told Shanahan right now that they had an opportunity to go get Lamar Jackson, even if they got to take backlash for the whole Trey Lance situation, they'll take the backlash. Shanahan would not give a damn. Okay, if he has an opportunity to go get Lamar Jackson, he's going to go out there and get it. They're not going to waste time with that. Like it's not even a discussion there. They probably trade Brandon Ayuk or Debo. I don't know. Debo might be the one you're going to have to give up more than Brandon Ayuk. 49ers already have a good quarterback. Again, first of all, I don't know if Purdy's the one they want. He's playing well, but anybody can play well in that system. We saw Jimmy Garoppolo play well enough to keep his job in that system. I don't know if Purdy is their answer right now. We don't know if Purdy's their answer. I think the biggest question for for the San Francisco 49ers is who is their guy? Do they still believe in Trey Lance? Do they still believe in Trey Lance? That's what my question is. Do they still believe in Trey Lance? And based on the attitude of the franchise, I think they still believe in Trey Lance. So I wouldn't say Purdy's the guy. Trey Lance is probably the guy. And if that's the case, they're probably sticking with that because you gave up 3 first-round picks for him. So yeah, it's possible. But again, if you have a chance to go get Lamar Jackson, chances are someone like Shanahan's going to go out and do it. That's just how things work. Let's keep it real. The Vikings would trade Cousins for Lamar in a heartbeat. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did, but I don't know. Listen, they're really feeling Kirk Cousins right now. Let's see. If Kirk Cousins goes out there and gets you a ring, it's very unlikely. But if Kirk Cousins goes out there and helps this team get a ring, then bro, I don't see why you get rid of him. I'm just saying, you win a championship with Kirk Cousins. I don't care. You kind of just stick with him. Sometimes there's just certain guys that just fit the chemistry of what certain teams are doing. Wait, pass that back out here. Okay, I'm good. Oh, he's driving. Oh, he put up a stupid shot. Right there. Lamar will go to the Raiders. You mean he'll be traded to the Raiders? I don't think the Raiders have anything that the Ravens would want to trade for. I don't think they have anything the Raiders would be looking to. I mean, I don't think they have anything that would match the trade value that the Ravens would feel comfortable with. Lamar to the Texans would be crazy, but do the Texans have anything the Ravens would really want? That's just, I would legit have to think about that. Lamar to the Commanders? I don't know. I legitimately don't know. Would they have enough to get him, and what would you be willing to give up? First of all, I mean, you're probably gonna have to sit back and tell Baltimore first off that Chase Young and Terry McLaurin are off. They're off the table, which immediately ends the trade right there. So I don't think you can do that. I don't think draft picks are just enough for them to be like, oh wow, look at that. I don't think draft picks are enough for them to be like, yeah, we'll trade. We'll get that for Lamar. I don't think. I just don't see them giving up those two guys. Those are their franchise cornerstones. So I don't see them giving that up. That's just me personally. Their Carr to the Panthers or Jets. It could happen. But then again, I don't know if how is Carolina going to handle the quarterback situation next year? Because Sam Darnold isn't the answer. He's young, but Sam Darnold isn't the answer. Would you rather take on a Derek Carr who's still not going to be the answer, but is better than what you have? Whatever happened to Antonio Brown? I remember the Ravens signed him a while back. The Ravens never signed Antonio Brown. The Ravens have never signed Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown has not signed with a single team this season. I honestly believe Justin Jefferson has a really good shot at MVP. It's unlikely, but there's no quarterback that is standing out. Patrick Mahomes is literally first in every passing statistic. And if he gets the number 1 seed, he's probably locked up the MVP. So, yeah. Not to mention, the MVP is pretty much a quarterback award. And unless Justin Jefferson gets you 2,000 receiving yards, I don't see how he wins MVP. So, yeah. That's just how I see it. What do you think about getting McCole Hartman and OBJ in the offseason to go with Bateman? That would be an interesting start. Now, I mean, with this, does that mean you're going to keep someone like a Demarcus Robinson? Because, no, you're going to have a Devin doing this. So that means your 4 guys would be a Rashad Bateman, OBJ, McCole Hartman, and Devin Duvernay. That'd be an interesting. I mean, that'd be better than what you have to say. Like legitimately. But I don't know if they're. I don't know. Again, I really don't know if free agents even want to come here in the first place. That's a big part of my whole philosophy. Do they want to come here? Like again, people keep saying about signing these guys. Do they want to come here? Oh God, there was like too many people in the paint. I shouldn't have gone for that. Where the hell is Giannis? Oh God, I'm out of stamina. Why did he do a standing shot like that? He had that too. I don't have this. Oh God, I'm so covered. I'm in the red. I'm in the red. Bobby, you gotta finish that. Foul. Oh God. Uh, and also Vikings are like 11-0 one-score games, and all those games made clutch plays help this team. I will be rooting for them to win. It's good for the NFL when another position wins it besides quarterback. I agree, but I just don't see it happening. Tom Brady probably goes to the Raiders. No, he's not. Let me pause this right now. I don't care. I don't care what you want to say. I don't care what the Raiders do moving forward. Let me tell you something right now. If the Raiders even think about getting Tom Brady, signing Tom Brady, if Tom Brady wears a Raiders jersey, then the Raiders organization deserves to be burnt down to the ground. Everybody needs to be transferred to a different team because I don't want to say coaches and personnel needs to be fired, but if he's in the jersey, all the players, the coaches, they need to be transferred to a different franchise. I'm telling you, if Tom Brady was to ever wear a Raiders jersey, that franchise needs to be incinerated because there's no way you ever allow that. Al Davis will never agree with that to happen. There is no. Where the hell did you get in here? No, because it's all someone's like, hey, Tom Brady should could go to the Raiders, bro. Al Davis went to his grave. He ain't going to do what? He ain't got a family to go to. He need to take care of them kids just because he don't got a wife don't mean he don't got kids. Well, not that he ain't got a wife. What are you gonna really do at home? He ain't got a wife. He gonna be by himself? He got kids. Take care of them kids. That's what he's supposed to do. I mean, that's not enough to satisfy. Let me stop talking right now. I'm on live stream. But yeah, no way in hell Tom Brady would ever be in a Raiders jersey. I only came down here so you can see my membership. You see what? Oh, you growing them? That's what you do when you have dreads. Okay, I'm just saying you're growing them. But how long are you growing them though? Until I feel like taking them out. Oh, so you're gonna get it to like the shoulder or? As long as I freaking want. Okay, cool. What do you think about? Oh, you already said that. Yeah, I don't see that happening. Nick's been looking off these past games. It's the Knicks. What did you expect? True. Come on, man. The Ravens love draft picks. They do, but they're not going to trade them. Like it's just not gonna happen, bro. Oh, no, I mean, well, like they do, but I don't see that happening with a trade. That's just me personally. But yeah, if the Raiders were to ever sign Tom Brady, it would be spitting directly in Al Davis's face. That man went to his grave believing his team got robbed. Don't ever disrespect Al Davis by putting the quarterback that was involved in that controversial call on his team. Yeah, he's gone, but don't do Al Davis like that. Do not. That'll be spitting in his face. That'd be legitimately disgusting. To have Tom Brady in a Raiders jersey. Don't ever do him like that. Oh, what is going on to my guys at the lunch break hot take? Appreciate you guys stopping by. I really did enjoy your live stream you guys had today. Y'all made some really great points. Y'all made some really great points. By the way, happy birthday. I didn't even know about this when I got on the stream. Bro, my boy Brodney, happy birthday to you, man. I didn't know. I like pulled up on the stream at the time. I didn't know we talked about it. I pulled up again at the end, and it was like, oh yeah, it was your birthday. I'm like, it was your birthday? Nice. So happy birthday to you, man. Happy birthday to you. Hope you were enjoying it. Funny thing is, I'm glad I got you guys here. I gotta find it. There was a comment about the Panthers involving their move next year and whether or not they should keep the current coach there. And I actually, because I know you guys were talking about it earlier on, so I want to see if I can find this in chat because this was talked about a little bit early on about whether or not they should. And I know you guys were talking about it, so I would definitely love to see if I can get that question answered here a little bit more. This Okay, yeah, okay. So Superhero Cat was talking about it in terms of Carolina potentially firing him. And it was like the Panthers probably need to keep Steve Willis there, especially if they make the playoffs, because all the players and the staff in that locker room kind of look like they want him to stay, and it could hurt the team and fan morale. So I would love to get your take on this, especially for that in the comments, because I heard definitely what you were talking about the possibility, and I agree with you. I don't know if the franchise itself is looking at Steve and saying he's the future for your head coach, but if the players in the locker room are vibing with him, do you see the Panthers moving on from him, especially if they do get into the playoffs? Because if they're in the postseason, despite everything that's happened, you get to the playoffs with this coach and the players are all vibing with this coach, do you make that decision? Because if I'm in the quarterback situation, I agree. I don't think Sam Darnold is going to be here long term. He's clearly not the future. But if Steve does a good enough job to help you get to the playoffs, is that enough for the franchise to say, let's give him a year to see what he can do with a different quarterback? Or do they just move on from him? That's a take I would definitely love to hear from you guys. What do you think about getting McCole Hardman OBJ in the offseason? I wouldn't mind it, but a lot of times you guys say, what do we think about getting them? It's not about what do we think about getting them. Do you think they're going to want to come here? Because a lot of times we keep telling the Ravens to go out and get these players, but we never seem to remember that it's a two-way road. It's not just the Ravens wanting to get the player. The player needs to want to come here. They need to want to be here. Like, do you think OBJ wants to come and play for Baltimore? Do you think a McCole Hardman would want to come and play for Baltimore? You guys haven't thought about that specific situation. Even if they make the playoffs, it's still with a losing record. I just don't think it's good enough to make him a permanent head coach. I would agree. I would agree. I don't think you make him a permanent head coach, though. But do you think the Panthers will be willing to give him a chance next year with a different quarterback? Because you're working with a Sam Darnold here. You're not exactly working with the most talented quarterback. And the funny thing enough is there are some people that believe that the Panthers right now, we don't know what the plan is at quarterback for them because nobody on their roster looks to be the future. Of course, somebody was joking around and saying that the Panthers, it would be such a Panthers move to go out and trade for Derek Carr now that the Raiders looks like they're done with him. But legitimately, if they were to get another quarterback, I don't think Steve's here long term. But would they be willing to try him next year just to see what he can do? Because if he was to prove himself next year, and actually, maybe they missed the playoffs, but if they were to have a winning record next year and look like they can compete, and Steve's actually doing a good job given the lack of talent, it's possible they could look to have him there long term. I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be there long term. I don't think he's in their long term plan. But I think, depending on how this goes, they might be willing to give him a try next season. Because, I mean, looking at the state of the team, it's not like they're going to be competing next season. David Tepper already has someone in mind. He alluded to that when he announced Wilkes as the interim head coach. You know what? That makes a lot more sense then. I would agree then. I would agree. If he already has someone in mind, then that means Steve's not going to be here. They probably won't try him for a year. Even if he might probably still be on the staff, but even if he makes the playoffs, if David Tepper already has somebody in mind, then I would have to agree. At that point, you got me there. I would concede giving him a chance next year if they already have a candidate in mind. Now, if they don't get who they're looking for, maybe they keep Steve on. But if they do, yeah, then it makes sense. So I would have to agree with you on that statement. If he already has somebody in mind, then yeah, there's no reason to go out and try to like keep Steve here and try him out next year. Nah, if you have someone in mind, there's no point in doing so. So I would agree with you on that one. Carr is rated 32nd in the NFL in expected completion passes. That means open throws. That's why they benched him. Yeah, he hasn't been the best. He obviously hasn't played great. No excuses for him. But it's not like he's working with a great head coach. Josh McDaniels, literally this season, Josh McDaniels you can make an argument he was the second worst coach in the league this year. No one's beating Hackett. Like Nathaniel Hackett was the worst coach in football this year by far. But one can make the argument Josh McDaniels was number 2. Now, based on what you've seen from the Jeff Saturday Colts, some would make an argument there. But I think Josh McDaniels, because he's been there the whole year, yeah, I would say McDaniels is probably the second or third worst coach this season. So you're working with a bad coach. And yeah, Carr definitely didn't play well. Let's not pretend like he did. Yeah, Devontae Adams, you couldn't make it work at times. There were a lot of games where you just couldn't get the ball to Devontae Adams. So, yeah, there was a lot of missed throws he had. So, yeah, Carr has to take a good chunk of the bullet. But I'm not going to be here and saying, oh, yeah, it's all his fault. Carr, I'm coaching can never fix wide open receiver. I mean, that's true. That's what I said. He has to take some of the responsibility. You know, he has a good part to blame in why they haven't been able to succeed. And he has to take, responsibility for that. But a lot of this, really, you got to look at coaching at some point, too. And he hasn't had a lot of great coaching. So it just comes down to that at the end of the day. I got him. Oh, God, I missed it. But yeah, I guess with that being said, we can probably go back to the whole Lamar situation. But yeah, with the Lamar situation again, I just emphasize I think there's 3 things going on in here. Number 1 has to deal with the fact that the injury is probably worse than we initially thought. Number 2, he could be healthy enough to practice. Not saying he's healthy enough to go because it really doesn't look like he's healthy enough to just start playing right now. So he may be healthy enough to at least practice, but he himself has purposely chosen not to go out there because he's not trying to risk furthering injuring himself. He's choosing to quote unquote hold in, which could be the case. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't see that likely happening because it doesn't really fit Lamar's MO. And number 3 is he's good enough to at least practice, but the Ravens are going to hold off and give him as much rest time as possible, specifically because they've clinched a playoff spot, and they would rather have Lamar at 100% in a playoff game than have him at 75% playing against the Bengals or against the Steelers or something like that. So we'll see. Who do you think the Ravens are going to face in the playoffs? I don't think the Ravens are winning the division. I do not think the Ravens are going to win the division. Unless the Bengals have really embraced choking, I don't think the Ravens are going to win the division. So I see them being the number 5 seed, and I think they're going to either get a rematch with Jacksonville or they're going to take on Tennessee. So whoever wins the AFC South, that's going to be Baltimore's matchup. Jacksonville or Tennessee in the wild card round. I think that's the situation there. He can't play Lamar because he can't make the shoulder sideline passes. That's why no elite receiver wants to play with him because he's screw up. I'm so sick and tired of people saying this. Number 1, there's film of him actually making those things. I'm not gonna act. I'm serious. If you actually have the energy to care, go look at film studies. There is plenty of evidence of Lamar making those throws. Number 2, how the hell is somebody supposed to make those throws if no one's getting consistently open? Are you not like the media's finally talking about it, so you're not paying attention to what people have been saying? Are you not looking at the film? Are you first of all, you know what? How about you're not a Ravens fan? Based on that statement, there's a good chance you're not a Ravens fan, so you probably don't know what's going on. But Greg Roman's scheme is not beneficial. Number 1, Lamar doesn't have receivers that can consistently get open and get separation against defenders. They don't. They haven't had that type of player since Lamar's been here. The only person that's come close to that is Hollywood Brown. And when Lamar would throw him those type of passes, Hollywood Brown would drop it. That's why Ravens fans lost faith in Hollywood, and that's why he kind of just wanted to get traded. That was part of it. So the only player that could make those type of plays and get open and get separation was Hollywood Brown. And he's not here anymore. So that's number 1. Number 2, Greg Roman's scheme has never been beneficial for the receivers. The scheme is awful. It is not helpful to receivers at all, and it does not scheme receivers open at all. So where are these shoulder sideline passes, where are they for them to happen? Number 3, with those type of passes, you need to have tall receivers. Baltimore doesn't have a receiver over 6'2", minus Shamar Bridges. Show me film because I've never seen it. I grew up in Waldorf, Maryland, played coach. Okay, please. You know, what's his name? Coach. I'm not even gonna show you. Let me shout out to my man, Coach, right here. I'm not even gonna do this right here. I don't have to show you anything. I don't have to personally show you anything. I'm gonna give you his link. Like there has been plays where he's done that, mostly with Hollywood. But there's been hell. The one thing, the shoulder sideline, he's done this. He's literally done this. He's done back shoulder fades in games. He did that this year early on. Also, the over the shoulder throw, he did that in week 2 towards Hollywood Brown during his MVP season. That's one example of it. But there's literal film of him doing this. But like, let's ignore the fact that I said the receivers can't get separation consistently, and when Hollywood Brown, the only one that could get separation, got open, he dropped the ball. And let's forget the fact that we're in a system and a scheme with Greg Roman that's never been beneficial for the receivers, has an awful passing scheme, and nobody can get open in this thing. It doesn't work for receivers. Let me make sure. Let me make sure I get this, man. Let me actually go to I want to pull up coach. I'm not gonna pull up. I'm gonna leave the link right in the description so you can go see his channel. I don't even know. There's some Lamar Jackson film here, but I'm legitimately just going to leave this here. Let me get this. Let me copy this. Let me give me a second, guys. Sorry about this. How do I no, no, no. You know what? This is the best thing I can do. Whoa, 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 whoa. I didn't mean that. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second here. I am going to Coach's channel right now. Here we go. Feel free. This is for you. This is the channel to Coach, who breaks down. If you don't know about Coach, shout out to Coach. He literally breaks down the film. He's one of the examples. There's multiple Ravens content creators that are breaking down the film of the game. Go and check out his content. You can look through his Lamar Jackson film and see if there's a moment where he's done it. I gave you one moment right here where he's made the throw you said he can't make. Week 2, MVP season to Hollywood Brown. He made that throw. He's also made back shoulder throws. He did it this season. So he has made those throws. Give him players that can consistently get open, and let's see if he can do it. Not to mention, with those type of throws, you want to have some big receivers. They constantly run those type of plays with Mike Williams with the Chargers. We don't have a receiver that's over 6'2", besides Shamar Bridges. And Shamar Bridges doesn't play like that. So you want to look for it right there in the channel. Go check out Coach's channel. You can go through it, or you could just type in that. You can go through it. You can type in his YouTube channel name and Lamar Jackson, and it'll show some Lamar Jackson film breakdown. Feel free to check it yourself, because I'm not gonna sit here and legitimately deal with it. And lastly, the whole thing about receivers don't want to play with him because he's gonna screw up the next contract. No, receivers don't want to play with this Ravens squad because they don't want to come here and block 10 times, 10, 15 times again a game and get 3 targets. The Ravens scheme is for the run game, not the passing game. No receiver looking to get a contract wants to come here and do all this blocking. That has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson himself. That has to do with the scheme. I hate this misconception. I'm telling you, I'm sick of the misconception here that they always want to put on Lamar. Receivers don't want to come here because of Lamar. It's not because of Lamar. Oh yeah, the Jets game, the plays of Duvernay. That's another example. Week 1 against the Jets, it was there. But I'm sick and tired of the misconception that is always placed on Lamar Jackson because of the Ravens' incompetence. They always say receivers don't want to come and play with Lamar. No, receivers don't want to come play in the scheme. What receiver looking to get a big play day wants to go play in a scheme where they're going to be blocking for half the game and get 4 targets? That's not a Lamar Jackson thing. That is a Ravens Greg Roman offensive scheme thing. He cannot control that. If Lamar Jackson was in a spread offense, we are not talking about this. This is the misconception we always have to deal with Lamar. No one wants to come play with him because they don't want to have to. He can't throw. He's not a good quarterback. It's always that. No one wants to look at the problems with the team and the misconceptions. It's always there. What receiver wants to go to a team to block for half the game and get 3 targets? That's why receivers ain't coming here. Why would you, looking for a payday, go to a team where you're not going to get the stats you want because you're going to be blocking half the game? Because they run the ball most of the time. But how would Lamar look in a different system? For God's sakes. Not for God's sakes. I mean, what am I trying to say? For God's sakes. No, I was trying to say, oh, thank you. That's a good question. That's what I was saying. You want to know how Lamar would look in a different system? Put Lamar in a spread offense. Better yet, go check out Lamar Jackson in college. They ran a pro-style offense, a similar offense that Peyton Manning's run. A pro-style offense. He ran that in college when he was in Louisville. Go look at what they ran in college, that pro-style offense, and you'll see what Lamar Jackson was doing there. You take that and you put it, you try to translate that into the NFL, it could work. I've said this for years now. You put Lamar Jackson in the spread offense, it's a different conversation. A.J. Brown went to a heavy blocking system with the Eagles. One, A.J. Brown is a made man. You just named a made man. You just named a made man. Also, you said A.J. Brown went to the Eagles. You understand he was traded there, right? He didn't walk into Philly. You're talking about what guy wants to come here. A.J. Brown was traded there. He was traded there and they paid him. The Titans weren't going to pay him. First of all, number one, A.J. Brown is a made man. We're dealing with young receivers that haven't even proved themselves. Number two, he was traded there. And he was looking for a top contract. Philly was going to give him one. He wouldn't have left Tennessee if Tennessee would have paid him. So, not exactly sure if that's the example you want to use. But again, you want to know how Lamar Jackson looks? Put Lamar Jackson in put him in a spread offense, you'll see the results. Give him receivers and put him in a spread offense. I'm telling you right now, if he was in San Francisco, we will never have this conversation about Lamar Jackson again. Never. This misconception that people are going to continue to run with because people don't focus on no one focuses on the organization. You focus on the quarterback because that's the talk. No one cares about what an organization is doing. It's always about what the quarterback's doing on the field. No one really cares about what's going on with the scheme or some of the plans here. They always just want to blame Lamar. Well, you got to blame the quarterback. You put Lamar in the spread offense, you will never have this issue again. And again, you brought up Philly. Philly, at least at least in some cases, first of all, Philly kind of runs a similar system to what we did in Lamar Jackson's MVP season. Which, for some reason, we don't really run that system nowadays, which is very interesting. But one thing that they do that we don't do is they actually tend to spread the field a lot more than Baltimore was willing to do. Because they understand they got receivers to utilize here, such as a Devontae Smith, such as an A.J. Brown. They realize they got guys to utilize, so they are not afraid to spread the field. Baltimore does not spread the field. I'm telling you if you put this man in the spread offense. And I've gotten so sick and tired of the misconception, which is why a lot of people, I'm telling you, so many Lamar fans just want him gone just so he could be in an offense that's actually going to utilize him. Put him on the Niners where he could be in the spread offense, and we're not having this conversation. Because we see what he can do in a spread offense. But unfortunately, we saw him do it in college. The funny thing is, no one ever talks about this. But the one thing, people had questions about his consistency throwing the football, even though he wasn't throwing the top talent when he was in Louisville. People had questions about him coming into the draft about his consistency. But one thing no one ever questioned was a deep ball, because they utilize a deep ball in Louisville. We don't do that here in Baltimore because that's not their scheme. Putting him in the 49ers is over, bro. Shanahan gets his hands on Lamar Jackson. This is a different conversation. We saw Lamar in a spread offense average 281.5 pass yards in college, plus all the rushing. That dude was a monster in college in a spread offense. But we want to run this nonsense with Greg Roman and think it's going to work. Like, it's over, bro. It's been seen. People have seen it. If you're still trying to convince yourself that Lamar is the issue, I don't know what to tell you. People were so busy trying to say, hey, he's a running back, that they actually didn't really focus in on what he did in college. Legitimately. He almost won the Heisman back-to-back in the spread offense. Exactly. The narrative that Baltimore built this offense around Lamar needs to be killed. I hate that narrative too. They built the offense around Greg Roman's schemes. They built it around Lamar Jackson's legs, not his arm. If you want to see an offense built around his arm, throw him in the spread offense, because you can still utilize his legs, but you spread the field around. Lamar does not like the field bunch up. Spread the field around. That also helps out with the tight end situation, because the middle of the field can be utilized while also utilizing the outside instead of having these receivers bunched up. But Baltimore doesn't understand that because they don't run a spread offense, because that's not what Greg Roman does. The narrative that Baltimore built this offense around Lamar needs to be killed. This is Roman's system, the same thing he ran in San Francisco and Buffalo. Exactly. He ran that with Kaepernick. He ran that with Tyrod Taylor. And both those teams eventually said, no mas, get out. Lamar leaves, I'm no longer a Ravens fan. Hey, Miguel, do what you got to do, bro. If we have another failure in the playoffs, it's time to clean house during the offseason. I wouldn't mind them getting rid of that coaching staff. You think they will franchise tag Lamar? I hope it doesn't come to it, but they are not going to let him just leave. If they got a franchise tag him, they're franchise tagging him. But they're not going to let Lamar Jackson just up and leave. That's not an option for the Ravens. That is not an option for the Ravens. They're not even going to let that happen. It's not even a question at this point. So no, it's either franchise tag or you sign him. Lamar's number one receiver in college was Jalen Smith. It was. It was. It legitimately was. So the dude didn't even have the top talent at receiving, but he was putting up those numbers. Why? Because they put him in a spread offense, which helps out. Lamar thrives so much in the spread offense. And Bobby Petrino understood this, which is why they ran that system. I don't like to talk about it, but I wonder what Marty Mornhinweg would have done that 2019 season had he been given the opportunity. Because Marty Mornhinweg, he is willing to run a spread offense. He might have pulled out the same offense he ran with Michael Vick in what was it, 2010? He might have pulled out that offense that he ran with Michael Vick in Philadelphia. I would be very interested to see what Marty could have done. Not saying Marty was a guy, but I was very interested to see what he would have done, at least passing-wise for this team. It could have been very interesting. What do you think of T. Martin or Joe Brady for offensive coordinator? Again, I don't mind them trying T. Martin now that they choose to. That I wouldn't have a problem with them attempting to have him be there. Yeah, look at Giannis with the defense. I mean, my God. I ain't got the... I'm going to just lob it up here to Giannis. But yeah, I wouldn't mind them attempting to put T. Martin there and give him a try. Though, at this point, if you're not putting him in season, so Greg Roman's not getting fired. I don't know. They may look... Joe Brady might be also an interesting candidate. They may look for a plethora of offensive coordinators in the offseason if they're actually truly to look to move on from Greg Roman. But I don't know. I don't know the case. We'll see what happens. But yeah, what do you think about getting McCole Hardman OBJ in the offseason? Yeah, I said I don't have a problem with it. I'm fine if they could get that. It'd be awesome. But again, what you're ignoring and what everyone else is ignoring, I know we don't like to talk about this, but what a lot of you guys seem to be ignoring is that that's a two-sided coin. That is a two-way argument. Does Odell want to come here? Everyone keeps saying Ravens go get Odell, but no one's asking, does Odell really want to come here? Because the Ravens can throw all the money they want at him. If Odell does not want to be in Baltimore, he's not going to sign that deal. Does Odell want to be here? No one has answered that question yet because no one knows the answer to that. It's not about just going to pick the guy up. This isn't Madden where you can just get whoever you want. The player has to agree to want to come play for the franchise. Does he want to come here? Does anybody know if Odell wants to come here? You guys have yet to fully answer that question. So it's not about going to go get him. Does he want to get here? Does he want to come and play for the Ravens? That's the question. I remember at one point, I forgot the season in college, but Lamar had 25 total touchdowns in 4 games. Yeah, I believe it was his Heisman year. Or maybe it was the year afterwards, after his Heisman year, where people were like, man, he's just really falling out. But I'm pretty sure that was his Heisman year. People forget Michael Vick in Atlanta was talked about the same way, and then he got with Andy Reid and the weapons. That was an MVP candidate. Well, I wouldn't say it was an MVP candidate, but he was spectacular. I mean, people really thought that Eagles team could do something in the playoffs. He was great that year. He really was great that year. And considering the fact of where he was at that point, he was really great that year. So I liked Michael Vick in Andy Reid's scheme. I wonder who the Panthers have in mind if Steve Wilkes isn't the answer. If it turns out to be a worse head coach than Wilkes, I don't think David Tepper should be the owner. I mean, we'll see what happens. The Panthers have been doing decent. They could take the division. I wouldn't be surprised if Brady ends up taking the division. It'd be interesting, though, but I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway, guys, this has been fun. Probably should have posted a video, but I just felt the need to talk with you guys about this. You know, because Lamar Jackson's situation is very weird, and I feel like it's something that definitely needs to be discussed. So I wanted to talk about it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If Lamar Jackson doesn't show up, if Lamar Jackson doesn't practice again tomorrow, then I'll probably make a video then. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this, play a quick game, have some conversations, have a little fun here, and just chat with you guys because it's been a little bit of a while since I've done one of these streams where I just talk to you guys about a situation. So I felt the need to do so here. Anyway, that's pretty much it for me today. I appreciate you guys stopping by the stream. It's been fun. It's been cool. We got the Steelers this week, so I guess I'll have to talk about that. We'll see how that game goes. And yeah, we'll see what happens when it comes to the Lamar Jackson situation. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And with that being said, that is all I've got. And I'm out of here, man. Peace!